Okay, we're rolling. Hi, my name's Mike, and what I've got here is a Spare Time Gizmos VT6 kit, and what I'd like to do here is at least start the assembly process. I like to start with sockets first. I know other people say to start with resistors and certain other smaller parts. The sockets give me the most trouble usually, so I'm going to start with them, and you'll see my horrible soldering techniques, and we'll slowly assemble this board as can. So let's start with these. Let's warm up here and start with these smaller sockets. Start with the power jack, which is VR1. There it is, J2. Put that in here, and I slightly bend the leads a little bit to give it a little bit of pressure on that thing so it doesn't do that. And take the solder, heat up both the pad and the pin. I have got the temperature controlled soldering iron set to just a little bit above 600. Okay, it's a Hakko 936 in case you're wondering, but almost anything will do as long as you don't use a something that's a little overkill. No automotive soldering irons, no soldering guns. And yes, you can see my rubbish soldering technique here. So, got that there. And I'm going to press that down a little bit and see if I can't heat those up. Make sure it's even. Check it. That looks to be nice and flat. So, we'll let that cool a little bit and move further down. We'll do the 9-pin socket for the serial port, which is next. And when you get these things out of the bag, sometimes they're a little bent. So just take some needle nose pliers and straighten out the lines carefully, because if you break one of these, you're going to be on the web searching for a replacement part. Or emailing Spare Time Gizmos and so forth. And there we go. Now notice that one doesn't have any screws. The same as the 15-pin one. It doesn't have any screws either. It snaps in with clips. So we're just going to carefully do that. And it looks like there is some solder trim around the clips, so I may solder that just for the grounding, obviously. But we're going to start with the internal pins first. And when doing something like this, I like to alternate. And the reason I do that is heat. It removes the chance, that you're going to immediately heat the pin next to it. And gives it a chance to cool off while you're doing it. And I am horribly, horribly out of practice. Normally I would be doing this in my workshop, but my workshop is currently a disaster, so I'm doing this at the kitchen table. Yeah, I'm gonna add a little solder here, just because I like a little better grounding on certain things, and I'm paranoid. And it's going to look like ass, but, sorry, it's going to look bad. I'm sure there's a kid out there who hasn't heard the word ass before, so I've got to be careful. Alright. Looks good. So we'll move on to the next one, which is the 15-pin. Oh, actually, nope, it's not. My apologies. It's a PS2 or S-video connector. can't remember which. I don't happen to have the schematics handy. I will have to pull those momentarily as soon as I finish the sockets. There we go. Obviously there's a shielding issue here, so I do have to solder these locks. Which can be a little messy because if you notice, those holes are very large. You know, in general, on other kits and other things, I've seen what they do is they obviously make a slotted hole that's just the right size. I understand why this kit doesn't have that. It's to reduce some cost, because obviously it takes more to manufacture those slotted holes than it does to manufacture the round ones. The round ones is just a change in drill size. We'll go and clean those up here in a minute. Quickly. You want to move fairly quickly on all the pins whenever you're soldering. And the reason is very simply heat. A lot of components are heat sensitive. You know, and obviously sockets are made of plastic usually, so oh come on. This one hole is just giving me a little bit of pain in the butt here. As I said, you can see I'm horribly out of practice with this. And that is the video socket. Obviously, we'll clean this up just a hair. A little bit here. Let's try and remove some of the excess solder. Always a good thing not to have too much solder on the board. Alright, next the 15-pin VGA socket. Okay. And again, those clip in there without any screws. Thank goodness, because those screws are a pain in the butt. Anybody who's done any PC repair work, you know, back when you used to actually repair video cards and other such things, will understand what I'm talking about. Alright. Again, I want to try and alternate on this one because obviously there's a lot of pins, and I want to try and reduce the amount of heat in those. Right. And that is my dog in the background. You can hear. Probably barking at the mailman. Don't know. I'll probably have to go check it out. A moment here. If you think you're heating the socket up a little too much, then obviously just stop and, you know, go get whatever your caffeinated or uncaffeinated beverage is of your choice and let it cool down while you drink that. Now, kids walking by, that's what the dog's complaining about. Oop, I already did that one, and that one right there. No, apparently I didn't do that one. You know. Okay. And there we go. Looking good. As I said, not the best soldering job in the world, but, you know, I do what I can. Alright. Now, let's start with the long socket because that is the next stage up. Make sure you orient these correctly. And like I said, I try and bend the pins